What's up, everyone? It is Nate, and I'm back with another Out of the Theater review. This week, I actually went and saw Shazam, Fury of the Gods. This is, of course, a sequel to the first Shazam, which came out, I believe, in 2018. So it's been 5 years. I enjoyed that movie. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was solid. It reminded me of Big, a kid who he has powers, but he turns into an adult. But that movie I thought was solid. I thought it was pretty funny. Not the best, but solid. So going to this one, I'm like, okay, the trailers didn't do much for me, but I said, we'll give it a chance. So as far as the positives go, I do think it has a good, sense of fun about the movie. It's not overly dark. I think the first one was a little darker. It had a little bit of darker stuff that happens in the movie. This one has a little bit, but nowhere near as much as the first movie. A lighthearted tone. It moves at a pretty good pace. So the pacing was pretty good. I like that. I thought the action scenes were pretty good. The fight scenes, the effects are solid. On a technical level, it was well made. And so that was solid. Also a positive, they way changed Zachary Levi's suit. So he no longer has that big, puffy looking muscles. I think they went a little bit more natural. I'm sure there may be a little padding in there, but he looks way skinnier and way better. The Shazam character looks way better in this movie. That brings me to my negatives, and I have quite a few. Number one, this movie has some of the cringiest dialogue. Super cringe, very current pop culture humor. So in 4, 5, 6 years, if you go back and watch this, it's not going to age well because the jokes are so focused on kind of modern stuff. So I'm not a big fan of that kind of humor in general. I chuckled a couple of times, but I just don't see it replaying well down the line. So yeah, super cringy, though. So many moments where I was just ugh, what? I don't like that. I don't like what this person said to this person. I don't like what that person said to that person. And it bugged me quite a bit. The script it's not really that good. To be honest, the storyline is mediocre, in my opinion. They already have these characters established. So this movie just jumps right in. You have him and his family. They got the powers. They've turned him into Shazam, I'm saying, Billy Batson, into he's just obsessed with his family now. Everything is all the time, my family. And it becomes a little bit annoying almost at certain times. All of them are hey, sometimes we want to do other stuff. And so that gets a little bit grating. On top of that, the villains are not that great. This story is super basic. But without spoiling, of course, because this is a spoiler-free review, basically you have these 3 Greek goddesses who come back and they want to plant this tree and rebuild their world. And one of them wants to do something that's a little bit more nefarious than that. And they have to stop them. That's pretty much the story. And the movie's 2 hours, but it did not need to be 2 hours. Even with the pacing moving quick, it could have been trimmed 20 minutes at least. On top of that, you get a whole side plot with the other brother and I forget his name. I just saw the movie and I already forget his name. But the one that has the crutch, and he has his own little side quest type of thing. It was okay. He had some funny lines, but I didn't really care for any of the new additions. Rachel Zegler's in this, Lucy Liu, Helen, Mirren, they're the villains, and they just didn't do much for me, to be honest. And the other thing that I didn't like is there's way too little of Billy. There's a lot of Shazam, but there's not a lot of Billy. I think he's on screen maybe 3 times, maybe 4, the whole movie, but it's for that kid probably got 8 minutes of screen time. Everything is Zachary Levi. So where I like that first movie where you had this character who's he's had a troubled life and now he's gaining these powers and getting this family, and it's a Billy story. This is a Shazam story only, and I thought it was lacking. I thought it was lacking. All the other family members turn back into their normal selves pretty often. He doesn't. So it gets a little grating. Zachary Levi, he's fine, but it gets a little bit grating, in my opinion. So I don't think this is the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. I don't even think it's the worst DC movie I've ever seen, but it's pretty low tier. And the other problem is knowing where they're going with the DC universe. This is inconsequential. Everything that happens feels it doesn't matter because we're probably not going to see these characters again. I don't know, but I don't think so. So because of that, because of the fact that just the character stuff is not that interesting and there's too many jokes, like it's way more focused on jokes than anything else, and they're not all that funny. You know, solid action, looks cool. I'm going to go right down the middle. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I thought it had a couple of moments that were okay, but for the most part, I didn't really enjoy my time at the theater. I don't think it's horrible, but it's pretty disappointing and lackluster. So that's just my opinion, 5 out of 10. But if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe you liked it better than I did. And of course, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the subscribe button so that way you get all of our video reviews every week. Next week, I will be doing an early review for Dungeons and Dragons Thieves, whatever it's called, the Dungeons and Dragons movie. 1 week early, I will have a review, so keep an eye out for that. Take it easy.